Bonjour, bienvenue au parc virtual. It is Lon and me, but today we are going to be talking about Phantom Manor. Opened April 12th, 1992, located in Frontierland. Tucked away in a corner of Frontierland stands Phantom Manor, once home to one of Fundamental's founding families. Local residents steer clear of the dilapidated house, claiming it to be haunted, but any intrepid Disneyland Park visitors who dare to enter will soon discover its terrible secrets. Okay, so this is our own version of the Haunted Mansion, which of course originated in both American parks. Yep, because obviously, but this is one of those attractions where you would find in pretty much all of the major resorts, but with each of them, it's different. Because in fact, it's only I think the only one outside of Tokyo that had I think the only one outside of the American parks that has Haunted Mansion is Tokyo. Yeah, the rest are. In fact, I'm gonna double check that real quick. Yeah, go. Before we get, because I'm not having any Haunted Mansion fans going, you got that wrong. Not having them heckle on our in the comments below. And in this one it's called da. No, so yeah, so I'll just quickly double check that real quick, yeah. Because I'm not having us being heckled for no goddamn reason. Right, so there we go. Yeah, I've got that. Yeah, so in Disneyland, the Magic Kingdom, it's known as obviously the Haunted Mansion. Same for Tokyo, and then for us, Hong Kong, and is there one in Shanghai? I think there is. Right there. No, for us in Hong Kong, we have different versions. So Hong Kong has Mystic Manor, and we have Phantom Manor, with its own story. Yeah, which you would do that first before we get into the into what we call that. So I'll let you go to the mic and take over. Yeah, so just one. So it's only Shanghai does not have one. Yeah, but for the two American parks, it's known as Haunted Mansion. And Tokyo is also known as Haunted Mansion. That's because Tokyo was a replica of Tokyo's basically the copycat park. It wanted a lot of replicas of well-known attractions that work in the American parks, and of course, one of those being Haunted Mansion. Yep. Then for Hong Kong and for Paris, it has its own versions. So I will allow you to read parts, but before we get into our thoughts and any facts to give out, I will let you delve into the story behind our version of the Haunted Mansion, which was known as Manor. Yeah, so obviously for our version, it was decided we're not going to do like a replica of what the American parts are done. We're not going to be like Tokyo. We wanted something that actually fits into our French culture. Yeah, because at the beginning of Disneyland Paris, we wanted to have right to reflect the culture of Paris. Yeah, so yeah. Now this is very lengthy. So bear with, yeah, grab some snacks. But I wanted to do this story because obviously obviously for a lot of fan fans, they will know it quite well, and I thought it'd be good to educate people and yourself the story to it, yeah. Because obviously for our version, there was obviously the story behind it, yeah. But can I very quickly before we go into that discuss why it's Phantom Manor, yeah. So when the planning was in place, obviously for Paris, one of the executive directors, obviously the Walt Disney Engineering, decided that certain staple attractions would likely have to be modified to fit the altered tastes and preferences of a European audience. Yeah. And so the Haunted Mansion obviously was amongst these attractions on that list. And Imagineers saw new administrators of the ride as an opportunity to expand and build on sort of past ideas they had for the Haunted Mansion. And so, lo and behold, we have, and also the fact that obviously they were going to be putting it in Frontierland also, because this attraction literally, it's literally, yeah. So each resort has chosen its own location for this attraction. Now, for the American parks, so in Disneyland, they have it in New Orleans Square, and in Magic Kingdom they have Liberty Square. Now, when they moved it to Tokyo, and I cannot believe this until I watched the behind the attraction episode on it, Tokyo's is in Fantasyland. I know, that does not make sense. I mean, Fantasyland, where you would expect to have Peter Pan's fly and Snow White and the carousel done by flying elephants. Yeah, it's a small world. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, bizarre, but alright. What about Hong Kong? In Hong Kong has theirs in area called Mystic Point. So they've got their area for it. So for us, we have it in Frontierland, which kind of works really well. Yeah. Well, yeah. So, it sort of helped him. So, right, but obviously the location they're going to put in helped really with the construction work on it, and also they also said that the story related to Phantom Manor would have to be gone to them with that of the Thunder Mesa, yeah, which of course is a fictional town portrayed in Frontierland, and well, this was a similar treatment was done obviously with our version of Thunder Mountain. Yeah, they had to connect it to the Thunder Mesa. It just went really, really well. Yep, so I'm now going to hand over to you for the story, but here's a quick little interesting thing here. A major influence for the story that you're about to tell of the ride was Gaston Leroux's novel, which of course has also become a massive anthology musical, The Phantom of the Opera. And of course, the secondary plot focuses on the abandoned bride, Miss Bishop, from Charles Dickens' Great Expectations, as well as many European Gothic legends which were altered for a Western setting. And Imagineers, they did dislike the derelict aspect of the building, stating that Walt would never approve of it. However, the design attraction thought that many guests would expect a haunted house attraction to look dissipated. It would likely be confused if the facade had a spotless appearance like the American one. Yeah, because when a haunted mansion, you're supposed to go in there and think, oh my god, this is scary. This hasn't been visited for like century. Yeah. But, yeah, so I want to do the story real quick before we get on to our thoughts. Yes, but it is quite lengthy, so bear with. Alright, thank you, Tilly. Oh, mother lobelissibus! Right, go. So the story behind, obviously, Arthur Phantom Manor is Henry Ravenswood. I feel like we should have like a spooky score set. Well, we can maybe put that in. Right, Henry Ravenswood, who was born 1795, was a Western settler who struck gold in Big Thunder Mountain and founded the Big Thunder Mining Company. Thus created the city of Thunder Mesa, which is basically the setting for our Frontierland as a whole. Ravenswood became rich and built himself a Victorian manor high on Boot Hill overlooking Big Thunder Mountain, where he lived with his wife Martha, who was born 1802. Ooh, bit of an age gap. And his daughter Melanie Ravenswood, who was born in 1842. That's an even bigger age gap. Melanie grew from a young... Sorry, you've gone. Oh, sorry. Went up a bit. Sorry, let's keep it. Right. Big Thunder Mountain. Sorry, I went too down far the cursor. Yeah. So I had to go. Yeah. You skipped a whole paragraph there for me. Right. I can proceed now. Okay. Right. Big Thunder Mountain was rumoured by natives to be home to the Thunderbird, a powerful spirit possessing a treasure. And according to the legend, its wrath could be materialised into a terrible earthquake. However, Ravenswood would not believe such stories. Years went by, and the gold in Big Thunder Mountain became scarce, forcing miners to dig deeper into the mountain. The Thunderbird thing, I have heard that related to Thunder Mountain. Yeah, that's where it's from. Yeah. So the mountain. Because I've heard that being connected to Big Thunder Mountain. Yeah. Mountain, and probably why you go through the tunnel. Yeah, well, there you go. Right, now on to Manor. So, yeah, so here you go. Down a bit. There we go. Just make sure the last line of each paragraph is up there, so now I'm on anyway. Okay. Manor grew from a young girl into a beautiful young woman, and became drawn to several suitors, as you would in those days. He planned to take her far away from Thunder Mesa, much to the dismay of Henry. Typical person? Yeah. Henry did everything in his power to stop this, with the first four seemingly perishing to bear its cruel fates. Sawyer Bottom was sawed in half by a saw blade. Captain Rowan D. Falls fell off a waterfall. Ignatius Knight was blown up by dynamite. These are very literate fates, and the fourth one, Barry Claude, was mauled to death by a bear. There's always one. It's always one that breaks the trend. Always one. Even though four of Manny's suitors were dead, Henry's attempt to stop Manny from leaving was once again foiled when she became engaged to a train engineer named Jake, who was once again set on leaving Thunder Mesa with Manny. A terrible earthquake killed Henry and Martha in 1860. Well, that probably could be related to the Thunderbird. Yeah, that could be, yeah. It seemed the mystical Thunderbird had been awakened. Yep. And much of the town of Thunder Mesa was destroyed. The Ravenswood family was never heard of again. After several years, the story of what really happened was revealed. Okay, yep. On Manny's wedding day, a mysterious phantom appeared in the house. Unbeknownst to anyone, this was the spirit of her father, Henry Ravenswood himself. Seeking revenge against Jake for his plans to take Manny away from Thunder Mesa. So basically, blaming his death on her fiance. Yeah, it's typical relationships and family dynamics. I know. Even in the 1800s, they're still not. I know. But yeah, you get that, yeah. While Manny was preparing in her room, Henry lured Jake up to the attic. Why is it always the attic? Where he hanged him by the neck from the rafters. Ooh! Wait, so did Manny get sealed to the altar? Well, you're about to find out. Oh, not right. Okay. Manny waited in the ballroom for hours with no sign of the groom, unaware of his death. So he actually did kill him. Spot, you know that? But yeah. Despite the fact Henry's a ghost, he managed to spunk him off. Oh, so Jake's now dead. Ooh. Yeah, so unaware of Jake's death, her wedding day passed, but Manny was convinced that Jake would return. I know. For years, she wandered the house, aimlessly singing melancholy songs of lost love. Henry's ghost still inhabited the house, mocking his daughter's devotion to her intended husband. In the following years, Henry invited his dead and demonic friends from the afterlife to build a house in an eternal party. A dark curse fell upon the house, and the state of the house and surrounding grounds was slowly transformed by the evil forces. And the house was abandoned indefinitely, with many presumably dying inside, never having found her grave. So this is now where we start to get to the Phantom Manor. So now it becomes sort of diluted, abandoned, and obviously, started to, rot a bit. Yeah, and what a typical Phantom Manor would like. Yeah. Near the end. Oh, yeah, we're near the end. So now, guests have an opportunity to take a tour. Sorry, do I start a bit word out? You got a bit tongue-tied. Now, guests have an opportunity to take a tour of the Ravenswood Manor, guided by the ghost of Henry Ravenswood himself, and find out for themselves what happened to the family long ago. And the last bit, although it is debated whether or not Mary ever perceived the presence of her father's ghost during her life, a revision to the attic show scene, which was added during the 2019 refurbishment of the ride, suggests visually that she was indeed aware of the Phantom. Okay? Whether or not she understood that the Phantom was responsible for the death of Jake is unknown. Well, and that is the story of our Phantom Manor. Well, okay. Alright, interesting there. A bit lengthy, as you did say. But I really wanted to put that into the show because I thought it is quite a fascinating story, and for people like you who haven't done the attraction, it really helps you get an understanding of what the attractions are like. Yes, they're really good. So like the its American counterparts itself, it takes place in Bisbal Manor, Fastgate. The actual ride itself takes place like a large warehouse-style show building hidden behind the manor. And what I really love about our Phantom Manor compared to the American ones, with the American ones, they've made the Fastgate kind of look nice and shiny. Yeah, a bit like the manors on Downton Abbey. Yep. Yep. You've never watched it, or the films. You don't need to watch Downton Abbey in this country to not know Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey is so iconic, you just mentioned it. See Bisbal Gogglebox? Well, I suppose. But it's got some iconic people in it. Of course. Dame Maggie Smith. Loved her. Yeah. Something like what we see Downton Abbey, where obviously we so well catered, lots of stars, keep made to the hall going on. I don't like that. No, because the idea is it's supposed to be a scary house attraction. Yeah. Something that you would go and visit on Halloween. Yeah. Well, yeah. So what I love is how in ours, the Fastgate, it actually feels like it's a proper haunted mansion, because it's been made to look rural, it's been made to sort of look dirty, look murky, have that rot there, and give it that abandoned vibe, because for a lot of these 1800 style manors that are no longer houses, they probably would be like what our Phantom Manor is today. It would be rotting. They would not look really good on the outside. It would feel abandoned. You would feel like the eeriness of it. Yeah. So I think we got that bit with the Fastgate right then. Well, should we stick with the Fastgate for a moment? Bring some of that up. Yeah. But I think we got it right. And also, given where ours is located, because obviously ours is located in Frontierland, it's part of the narrative, the fundamental narrative that we have for our Frontierland, which I've always loved. That works brilliantly. And it just feels like it just really feels like a stately home would look like. It has that grand appeal to it. Yeah. And yeah, because this is definitely something you could see pictures being something that would have been there in that era. Yeah, definitely this would have been something that it could definitely would have been a great grand stately home in those days. But yeah, and just the rawness to it. Yes, go zoom in closer. Yeah, if you look at it here, the rawness to it, it just looks brilliant. I love how it's got that sort of murky vibe. Yeah, because obviously as time goes by, that is how our architects are going to look. Yeah, they'll eventually show what they were to. Yeah, and for if this wasn't a haunted mansion ride, then fair dues, make it look shiny. Yeah, but because it is a haunted mansion ride, you would expect a haunted mansion ride to be sort of, well, you'd expect the outlet to be sort of murky, sort of rustic, and sort of, yeah, and really feel abandoned. Because if we compare that to the outside of the American ones, go for it. As you said, with the haunted mansions in the American parks, they do look. They actually do quite. I'll give you Disneyland as an example. Yeah. So Disneyland. Yeah. There you go. Right, so we look at what Disneyland is. That looks like the White House. But really grand. But you can see, really grand, really posh, and well kept, cleaned. Whereas you go back to ours. Yeah. There you go. If you go back to ours looks more like a haunted home. Yeah. The American ones just look like it's a, like you said, well, there's White House buildings. Well, there have been some demon spirits in the White House over the years. On the he's a Democrat. Yeah. He's just to clarify, he's a Democrat. Yeah. But not all our Democrats were squeaky clean. I mean, Bill Clinton, for example. Okay, he's the black sheep of the party, but yeah, most of the demons have been the Republicans. Yeah. Literally, I was trying to figure out what's the most grandest building I know in the US. I know the White House. Going first. Yeah. But then that's why it looks like the American was, because it's very white. Yeah. Well, they have got the Hall of Presidents in Disneyland, so it's probably similar to that. Yeah, but it just looks very whitish. It just looks, yeah. So whereas ours is more rural, more rustic. Yeah, gives that appeal. Yeah, and just makes it really work. Yeah. Oh yeah, we did about, yeah. But in terms of appearance, we are so much better. Yeah. So if we go on to the we can go on to it bit by bit. Yeah. So if we go on to the outside queue area, now the original Haunted Mansion at Disneyland, the Magic Kingdom, and Tokyo, the mansion was obviously, as we have just said, it was designed to look clean, and aesthetically pleasing. Our Phantom Manor was designed to look like a Phantom Manor, abandoned, rural, not inviting. Yeah. Clearly derelict, standing at the top of a small hill, looking out onto the southern side of Base Thunder Mountain, to tie with the story, with a commanding view of the washed out trestle. The Maya Base and the second lift and the Manor's grounds are untended, with overgrown with all the garden and stuff, and scattered with dead stuff. So upon entering the grounds, guests can see a bat-guarded box and a plaque on the wall which reads, Phantom Manor, non omnis morier. Oh, very well good tent. Well, yeah, that's not French, it's Latin. Oh, yeah. Apparently it's Latin for I shall not die completely. I know, make that what you will, folks. So a derelict gazebo stands on the lawn that has a set laid out. Originally these used to move to mimic two people pouring and drinking tea at night. The light in the gazebo flickers. See that haunted by. You get the horror films. Do you want to play a game? No, let's not play a game. Let's play a game of turn the telly off. I can't believe Drew Barrymore's only in it for that one scene and she's gone. She's a big star. Well, you just got some extra in there to do that real quick. Like, nah, wouldn't have been as impacting. Well, I suppose. Yeah. Where were we? The gazebo. Oh, sorry. The gazebo also contains a music box playing within. It also is the only mansion in the parks that has guests enter the ride through the front door. Shadows and lights can be seen from within the house at night time. Melanie can also be seen from a window in the facade, carrying a candle from one window to the next. Very spooky. I love how ours is the only one that lets us guests enter through the front door. Because how else would you enter an abandoned mansion like that? Yeah, you always see in these films and TV how everyone spots an abandoned house, always go through the front door. So how come ours is the only one that people go through the front door? We seem to have cracked the scary vibe from the get-go, unlike its American counterparts, and they got the originals. Yeah, right. So the foyer, guests walk in up the pathways towards the manor, along the porch, and they queue outside the house where they will wait for admission. And then obviously the foyer, it contains, well, the original version, it contains like a really sort of dusty chandelier. So, I think you'll see it now. I'm not going to sing it because A, we don't have the time, and B, I can't do the really, really, really high notes. No, let's not kill your vocals. No, let's not. Let's not. They've got a long time to go yet before they get worn out. So no, let's not. No. And it's lined with dark wood paneling, and you get like the voice of the phantom. Yes. Oh, that's really spooky. Yeah, that's really spooky. Yeah. Bellows from the ceiling and around the whole room. At first he's kind of sort of, politely sort of welcoming the guests in, asking, telling them about all the legend of the place, inviting them to explore the manor further, and also, many space. It fades in and out of the smallest mirror during the narration. Ooh, her presence is felt a lot. Merlin, yeah. That was in the original version. In the new version for 2019, so the 2019 version, there's an additional effect that got added to the foyer. The small mirror got replaced by a painting of Merlin in her wedding gown, looking really sad, and her father Henry looking angry, standing behind her outside the dark pit house with both hands on her shoulders. Oh, she's about to strangle her. Ooh, maybe that's how she died. Who knows? Who knows? And a bear tree is also behind them with 4 hearts crossed out, and the news hanging from all of its branches. That could be too simple for Drake. Could be, yeah. As the band begins recounting the legend of the manor, the painting changes, and it then shows a happier Merlin dressed in summer clothes, while Henry's smiling and resting one hand on Merlin's shoulder. So he's still set with Merlin's shoulders. The manor is in pristine condition with the tree now with leaves. The one heart, the swing hanging from its branches, and we've got lightning effects which also transport the wallpaper in the room from old and torn to brand new. Because let's face it, we can't have a scary mansion without a bit of lightning. No, we can't. We cannot. No, we can't. Can I tell you a little quick fact about the Phantom? Go ahead. So the Phantom was originally voiced by Vincent Price, but legal agreements required the narration to be primarily in French. And within a few months after the attraction had first opened, writer and dub voice oyster Gerard Chapelier was brought in to record a French version of Price's narration. However, a small piece of Price's recording was kept in use. The Phantom's maniacal laughter. Oh dear. In 2018, it was announced that during Phantom Manor's major renovation for 2019, parts of Price's narration would be restored to the soundtrack of the attraction. For the 2019 reopening, the new tracks featured Price once again, original excerpts as well as previously unused material from the 1990 recording, spoken English with French actor Bernard Alain voicing the parts in French. The Phantom says French lines in italics. Translated English below. Do I read it? Yeah. When hinges creak in doorless chambers, when strange and frightening sounds are heard all around, when candlelight flickers through the air is deathly still, that is the time when the Phantom manifests. Welcome, curious friends. It's so nice to have guests. We welcome you, humble mortals, to this mysterious manor. You may not believe it, but beauty once lived in this house. Phantom Manor had happier days, but times have changed, and now curious souls come. I have more to show you. Enter, brave mortals, into this famous manor together. And then we carry on to the portrait gallery. Basically go back. Step by step. So guests then sort of enter an octagonal room, 4 portraits of the young Bernie, with each of the 4 suitors. The Phantom comments obviously on the gallery, referring to the sweet innocence of youth. Shortly after, Bernie fades away from each of the paintings, with only the suitors left, and the Phantom acknowledges a disquieting metamorphosis, and that not all tales have happy endings. So obviously, hint to all 4 fates, as we've heard in the story. Suddenly, the room appears to stretch upwards, and the paintings grow taller, revealing what happened obviously to each of the main students, as we know, and I'll remind them again for the viewers. So, Barry Claude was sitting on a tree branch, missing one of his shoes, while an angry bear roars at him from below. He got eaten by the bear. Sawyer Bottom was straddling a log and being sawed in half by an industrial buzzsaw. Captain Rowan D. Falls was riding in a rowboat about to head over a waterfall, and Ignatius Knight was standing on top several crates of TNT, so basically dynamite, an ignited bar of dynamite. The Phantom comments about how it appears everyone is doomed at Phantom Manor, even you. He goes on to add that the chamber has no windows and no doors, offering the guests a chilling challenge to find a way out. After his mechanical laughter echoes away, he adds that the Phantom, of course, wrote himself, would be happy to help them. Lightning and thunder effects fill the space, because obviously you can't hold house without lightning and thunder effects. As the ceiling turns invisible and the Phantom reveals himself in the attic, holding a noose and seriously laughing. Then suddenly the lights go completely, and the guests are shrouded in darkness. The gallery's lights slowly come back on, the hidden door opens, revealing a hallway lined with portraits. The Phantom apologises for frightening the guests prematurely, and beckons them further into the manor and states that the real beauty of this house awaits her further on, and she's dying to meet you, but beware the phantom. What's it doing? Yeah. So from 1992 to 2018, the 4 portraits were of the young Manny pictured in more fallacious times, only to stretch to reveal more macro situations. Okay, so one of them was Manny having a picnic with Joke as ants, a diamondback rattlesnake, a scorpion, a tarantula, and a beetle raid their food. It was the 1800s, well, I suppose. The second one, Manny holds a parasol as she rides in a boat about to go over a waterfall. Third one, Manny picks roses from above a tombstone while a skeletal zombie emerges from the ground, gripping a small rake in one hand. And the fourth one is Manny wades through a small stream as an aquatic monster reaches for a foot. Quite graphic pages here. The scene revealed in the asset was also slightly different until 2018. Instead of just showing the phantom evil laughing, he was basically hanging at Joke. Yeah. Unlike in Disneyland's version, the octagonal portrait gallery is actually a pair of cleverly disguised OTIS elevators. These elevators were originally created to solve a space constraint in California's original version of the attraction. As the Imagineers building the ride had to figure out a way to subtly funnel guests underneath the Disneyland Railroad that sat directly behind the ride's exterior. The floor is lowered while the upper half of the floors are also lowered at half the speed to create the kind of stretching illusion. This served a double purpose of both a dramatic effect while also lowering guests from the elevation of the attraction's cascade to the elevation of the ride's loading area in a separate warehouse style shelving behind the bar of the park. For Tokyo and Florida's versions, they did not face this same conundrum. The decision was made to use actual elevators for the stretching show scenes in the ride, similarly to California's attraction, and this was likely done because the Vasco of the Manor is elevated, and without the elevated function, the shielding would be visible to guests. Yeah, Ranama, Manor knows running big from the mountain. So we've also the interior cute and lonelier, yeah, because there's actual loading to it, yeah. So, stepping out the stretching room, guests walk down the portrait corridor that takes them from the manor visible from within the park, yep, into the show building that houses the actual ride, yep. Unlike Disneyland, this corridor does not pass under the park's railroad. Instead, it sort of travels behind the show building. As the guests walk down the corridor, they see 4 portraits slowly morphing into more macabre images. Oh no, we got to hear about those on them. Yeah, I'm afraid so. So here we go. So one of them was a knight and his horse on a cliff, both becoming ghostly beings. The second one, a young woman in a Greek temple, has snakes from her hair and becomes Medusa. The third one, a ship sailing across the sea, becomes a tattered and ghostly bird of itself, sailing through bad weather. And the fourth one, a woman reclining on a sofa, turns into a were-panther. During the 2019 refurbishment, Imagineers decided that the original paintings did not fit with the more serious tone of the attraction and changed them to better convey the story of the ride. But the portrait of the same ship, that stayed. Really? So what are the other 3? The other 3 got replaced with Henry Ravenswood becoming the Phantom, that replaced Medusa. Henry and another man outside the manor about to have a duel, it changed to Henry shooting his opponent in the back. That replaced the were-panther. And a cowboy and his horse on a cliff, gazing at what appears to be Big Brother Mountain, becoming spectral beings when lightning flashes. That replaced the knight. Yep. And at the end of the hallway stands a large portrait of Melanie wearing her bridal gown, from which she can be heard singing, although subtly, to refer to the fate figure of the Phantom standing behind Melanie in this painting. It is unknown if this was intended to be an animated effect for the rest of the portrait, or if it was just added for more obs. I guess to find. Yeah. And guess then turn a corner and enter the loading area. A large hall with a grand staircase leading to the upper floor. One can see a ghostly, foggy landscape with flashes and bolts of lightning through the huge window above the stairs, and Melanie standing on the midway landing. Old furniture lines the walls, and sitting herself is a continuity between every virtual attraction in the different Disney parks. An unbroken train of black omnibus vehicles known as carriages move through the centre of the room alongside a moving platform to enable easy loading. And that's your ride vehicle. That's your ride vehicle. Unlike the air conversions, the loading area is the last scene with narration from the Phantom. Okay? The Imagineers chose to convey much of the story visually, and were sort of hesitant to rely on narration throughout the whole thing because of possible, language barriers. Okay. So kind of when you get to the ride, that's where it kind of just sort of steers away, just becomes a typical, haunted house ride, yeah. So, the ride itself, the guests, they board the carriages, each accommodating 2 to 3, and then you move upwards to the show building, main floor. Prior to 2019, guests would pass a young Melanie bowing or holding a candelier and singing the entire time. During the renovations, Melanie was moved to the loading area, and now a switching suit of armour in her place. So, after passing the armour, the guests face a seamlessly endless hallway, with the vision of Melanie and the Phantom appearing and disappearing in the distance. So the story's still there, but it's not. But there's a lot of more ghouls than that. So, but yeah, so it's kind of before you get to the ride vehicles, that's kind of where the story is heavily implied. And after you watch it on the ride, it then sort of goes into like a normal ghost ride. Okay, so while the chandelier that she's holding remains in view, the hallway effect is accomplished with a full-length mirror of the far end of the hallway, and the disappearance of Melanie and the Phantom is done easily in the upper ghost effect. Yeah. The left side of the corridor got a conservatory containing piano, a wall with the wreaths of the deceased suitors. At first glance, seems to be playing a minor chord version of the wedding march. Right, so but one can notice a ghost piano shadow falling on the carpet. The carriages then travel through a corridor lined with doors, and as guests pass each door, they hear pounding, knocking, or shouting behind it, and the knock seems to move by themselves, as if their inhabitants are struggling to get out where the last door is breached. Guests can see 2 skeletal hands clutching at the top, trying to force their way through, with the skeleton yelling, "Let me out of there!" Uses the same audio as the skeleton attempting to escape his coffin in the conservatory in other haunted mansions. The carriages pass a small hall containing a dimly grandfather clock with a large birdie on its base. Its hands spinning backwards as it chimes. The walls are like a purple wallpaper covered in eyes, several of which glow in the dark. The carriages, they then enter like a round seance room. A door with gargoyles where a crystal ball sits on a floating central table. And that ball, of course, contains the head of Madame Lettia. Behind her is a raven perched on a chair. As the ride vehicles revolve around her, she summons ghosts and dark creatures to a wedding party in both English and French. Yeah, the narration in the scene is entirely separate from that of the original attraction, although retaining the ghostly seance aspect. Whereas the original scene was created purely for spectacle, the redesigned scene for Phantom Mile was created with the story of the ride in mind. Always think of the story. Good thinking, Imagineer. This is reflected in the narration with leaders mentioned to the bride and groom, being Melanie and Jake. During the 2019 refurb of the attraction, the scene received a new effect that saw Madame Mathieu's crystal ball floating above the table. A original score for the scene was placed with the score from the American versions of the attraction, although it was changed back shortly afterwards after fans voiced their displeasure of it. And then guests leave the seance room, move along the balcony, looking down into the ballroom where a ghostly wedding party takes place. You got Melanie stands on a staircase singing while the Phantom stands behind her, laughing at her. As lightning flashes behind him, ghostly guests enter the room, bringing wedding presents, sitting around the dining table. A mouldy wedding cake is waiting for them. Drunken ghouls swinging from the chandelier of the table. Angrily dressed pairs of ghostly dancers twirl around the ballroom. A spirit organist sits at a massive organ, playing a haunted waltz. Apart from plot-related retheming, this scene is similar to regular Haunted Mansion ballrooms. During its soft early previews, after TV version, when the music was temporarily replaced with the equivalent music from Haunted Mansions, but got switched back after Backlash, similar to up in the seance room. So they leave the ballroom. The vehicles enter the bride's boudoir, which replaces the attic scene. A dying fire is crackling in the fireplace. Guests then see Melanie. She's given up looking for her long-lost groom. She sits weeping into a mirror as an old woman, while the father's scared face can be seen over her shoulder in the reflection. Music box and gramophone play in the background. Prior to 2019, the scene was largely the same, but the mirror was fogged and damaged. Okay. To resemble an actual skull, yeah. In reference to a painting called All This Back Party. Okay. So the characters lead the bride's boudoir through an open double doors, across a terrace, and then into a graveyard. Yeah, so out and past. A triangle of the Phantom with a shovel standing before an open grave with an undead dog lying beside him. They're laughing, the guests pass by, they then travel underground, the catacombs, and then for a hole, the characters then enter the Phantom Canyon, which is a twisted, supernatural version of the Thunder Mesa. The rift in the air, great rift in the air surrounding the vehicles again convey damage from the previous earthquake, which marked the Mesa's turning point from a prosperous community to a ghost town. Animatronic Ticketmaster, stands before you, a run-track train station offering the riders train tickets to the underworld. Guests then pass a ruined town hall where the mayor is there. And as he takes his hat, his head comes with it. A shootout follows between a bank robber fleeing on the mall and county sheriff with Big from the Mountain. The backdrop gets the pharmacy where green-faced pharmacist drinks potions of some sort borrowed by a saloon. His front wall has Katie and there's a dancing showgirl, a bartender, and a man playing on the piano. Every once in a while, a hand with a candelabra appears out of the piano, and 4 visible black figures play poker nearby. Much of the of Phantom Canyon was actually derived from a planned scene of a wild mining town called in the Western River Expedition at the Magic Kingdom, later retooled into the version of their version of Big from the Mountain Arco. And then finally, another cackling figure of the Phantom and his raven stands by a tree and gestures towards a noose hanging on a branch, an empty coffin for awaiting guests, his eyes glowing red at passing riders. Prior to 2019, this animatronic version of the Phantom was a skeleton. I'm not going to go into the groups right now. Showing the guests that he has lost any humanity he's ever had left in him. As guests see the silhouette of the manor above, they enter the mausoleum where many four suitors were buried. Prior to 2019, guests would encounter Mary's floating skeleton pointing the way out. As the refer, the skeletal hand of one of her suitors holds a wedding ring out. As guests pass by, the vehicles enter a subterranean chamber lined with large geek-framed mirrors in which the ghostly image of Melanie, driven insane by the loss of her suitors and groom, appear in the vehicles, beckoning riders to wed her. Vehicles travel through wine, where cast members await to help them disembark their carriages and exit the attraction. And that does it, I believe. Well, there's one more thing. As guests travel towards daylight, the evil laughter of the phantom can be heard, as well as Mary's voice telling guests to hurry back and to bring their death certificates. Prior to 2018, a small Mary would beckon guests to hurry back. This figure was moved in the ride's 2019 refurbishment. Finally, guests exit into Boat Hill, a cemetery filled with humorous gravestones, as well as rite-oriented gravestones for the Ravenswoods and several others. If one should turn around to look back at the house, they can occasionally see the phantom looking out the window over the exit and down at them before he closes the curtains. The effect is more visible at night due to backlighting. In the cemetery, one can hear Mary's beating heart in her tomb. Oh god, yeah. There you go. So yeah, so we've kind of done like a big in-depth thought of the ride as a whole, really, but I thought we just might just carry on, because obviously, well, yeah, but I quite love the story as a whole. And what I really love as a whole is how they utilised the story and made it be part of the attraction. I mean, obviously, when you get into the ride, it then becomes more like a typical ghost ride. But the story's still there. Yeah, there's parts of the story still there, but it's more ghostly. So it's only when you're walking into the mansion before you get to the ride vehicles where you really are thrown into the story. Once you're on the ride vehicles, it then kind of intersects between a mixture of a typical ghost ride and the story. But the ride story's there, but I thought it's more of a ghost ride than when it gets to that bit. Okay, so it's kind of like two rides then roll into one. There's the story. There's the bit before you got the ride vehicle, the whole story, and then on the ride vehicles, when it's kind of like a ghost. Yeah, in a way, yeah, but I think it's brilliant. I just love how the story has been literally intertwined to the whole ride. They actually built parts of the ride based on the story. Absolutely, very wonderful. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. I mean, I do like the story behind it, but I'm just not sure if I would like to do the ride bit itself. See, I think I would be fine until we get to the ride vehicles. Then probably after that, I'd be like, well, see ya. Yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted. It's really not. But what makes our version really, really great is how we actually entwine this story to it, and it actually works brilliantly. It kind of makes our version just that little bit better than its American counterparts. It really is. I just love how we connect that to the actual story, and we built the attraction around the story rather than just, here's another ghost ride, come on in, kiddos. This way, mind the dry blood. Think it's dried. Yeah. So we have done quite a bit of a lengthy in-depth there, but we kind of wanted to do, because you wanted to do the story, and then also we had all these other bits that could help us with the attraction, so we'll just carry on. But it sounds like it's a great ride as a whole. I do quite like the story behind it a bit, but the ride itself, not too much. Not too much. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us today's show. If you've loved it, do click the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do click the subscribe button. That way, when you are subscribed, you'll never see me when you can't contact anybody else than me. You can also ring the bell to update all this content. And we've also got a YouTube handle. I know, I don't see what the point of this is, but if you want it, it's George and. Until next time, all separate says, Murder or Guy, do attack. Au revoir!